Welcome to the home of the DIY movement, where we build stuff and paint things.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Today is July 8th. It's way back Wednesday again, man. We got a new video today. Let's get right into it, man. This one we're going to talk about budget low riding. I had a playlist on the channel. I still have it, called Budget Low Riding. It's basically a couple of videos on Lincoln Town Car, because in my opinion, I think the Lincoln Town Car is probably the cheapest car to build. I think these days they're actually cheaper than a G-Body, when, you know, 20 years ago it was the other way around. So here's a quick picture from 2007 when I had a Lincoln, and I already did a way back Wednesday way early on. And I had Maurice Andrews come out when he was in the Houston area, and he did some pearl graphics over a candy red paint job. And I'm real peculiar when it comes to graphics on a car. There's only certain cars I like graphics on, and some, you know, I don't. It's personal preference. But really, there's only a handful of people that I like their style, and Maurice is one of them. Kind of flows like Doc's patterns used to. And you know, there's a couple more we won't mention, but Maurice is one of my favorite. So I had him come out and do that. And on the Budget Lowrider, I attempted or tried to kind of mimic his style and just mess around and see what it's like to put, you know, graphics on a car. With this particular car here, this was I believe a 2001 Lincoln Town Car Cartier. It had a sunroof. It had a half wood grain steering wheel, and had them chrome wheel well moldings, which I don't really care for. But the main thing about this car is it was that ivory parchment tri-coat. So it's a factory tri-coat pearl, and it's one of my favorite colors from the Lincoln Group, Ford Motor Company, I guess. The objective with this car, if I remember right, I mean, all the videos are still there, but I kind of wanted to put something together for under $10,000 that looked good and, you know, was a lowrider. So I picked this car up from, man, probably about 90 miles away up in the Conroe area, and drove it home. The guy wanted $3,000 for it. I think I gave him $2,800. The main thing I was looking for on this car was a nice body and, you know, running and driving with air condition. Bought it from an older guy who I don't think he was 100% honest with me. He seemed like he was, but once I got the car home, actually once I drove it away, I noticed some things on the car that weren't up to par with what he was talking about. Mainly, I forgot what he said, but man, once we left his neighborhood, I mean, I drove it around the neighborhood and it was fine, and paid him, you know, and I understood that it was as is, where is, no warranty or anything like that. So drove it home, and man, you know, got about 10 miles out, started smelling coolant, and thing had a coolant leak from the heater core. So when I got it home, I just ended up bypassing the heater core. Problem solved. We don't really need a heater over here. Other than that, it was a decent car. AC worked and it ran good, and that's, you know, that's all I needed. So I got it for about $2,800 if I remember right. I just want to remind everybody, man, these way back Wednesdays, I'm doing them off the top of my head. It's unscripted. It's going off of just pure memory. And there could be some discrepancies in actual dollar amounts. If you go back and watch the old videos, I might have paid more. I don't remember, but that's what I want to remember. Anyways, at this point, I believe the blue 64 was gone and the 61 was gone, or it was right around that time they were gone. And I kept the roadsters off the blue 64, all chrome with white chip. So I was like, man, boom, got a car for under $3,000. I got some 13s for it, already ready to go. So don't really got to come out of pocket for that. So, you know, I think I paid $1,000 for the wheels. So let's just say we're in it for under $4,000 now. And the first order of business was I wanted to get some frame reinforcements done. So I took it to my buddy Alberto at Fine Line Street Rides, and he did a stress point job on it before anything, you know, before any holes were cut or anything like that. I just drove it over there stock. He did some frame reinforcements for me, drove it back home stock. And he also did a spindle swap, which you need to clear 13s. That topic is well discussed online. But basically, you take the front spindles from an earlier model, I want to say 90s model, and you put them on the later models up to 2002, and you can clear 13s without running spacers. I think that's the safest way. Don't get me wrong on the ball joint numbers and all that. I do know you have to screw the tie rods in like almost all the way, but it's doable and it's drivable. And I mean, you can sit there and grind the calipers and run spacers with longer wheel studs and all that, but essentially that's not safe. With the spindle swap, boom, you just bolt your wheels on, no spacers required. You don't got to buy any different lug nuts or studs or anything like that, and you're good to run 13s. Although I will say I think these cars ride better on 14s. Maybe it's just me getting older, but I'm not. I really don't care. You know what I mean? I want comfort. I want safety. I want stability. And 14s are going to ride better than 13s on these cars. Not only that, you put 13. The cars come stock with, I believe, 15, maybe even 16s. And I want to say 15. And then you go from 15 to 13, kind of like a Cadillac Fleetwood. And man, your speedometer is going to be at least 20 miles an hour off. And that's not cool. Yeah, the main reason I bought this car was for the color and that it had a factory moonroof. I figured that, hey, it's already got a pearl paint job on it. I can just freshen it up and repaint the outside. Don't mess with the door jambs. Don't mess with under the trunk. Don't mess with under the hood. And it should be a pretty good match. It was a pretty good match, although under the trunk there was a hard tape line that you can tell the difference in the pearl coat. So the pearl coat is basically, I mean, when I bought the paint from the paint supply house store, the pearl coat, the mid coat, I guess, was already mixed. So it's basically cream color, and then you spray your pearl coat, which is inner coat clear mixed with dry pearl, and then your clear coat. So that was pre-mixed, so really the only way to control that is to, depending on how many coats. So I believe I went 3 coats, probably 2, or at least 2, but probably 3 on the first pearl coat. Here is a picture of the car in the pearl coat, painted up, no graphics yet. Like I said, I painted this in the big shop. This was kind of just a quickie, and overall, it was a pretty clean job. It did have some bugs on the hood because I think I painted it in the summertime, and man, the mosquitoes and stuff early in the morning got into the shop. It might have been at night, but anyways, it had some trash in it. It's a garage paint job. So the ground coat and the pearl coat were shopline paint. So went, cheap as cheap as possible, and like I say, just spraying the outside, so we didn't need a whole lot of materials. We're spraying the same color, so basically I think I sanded the car with a DA with 600, fixed some dents, smooth those out 600, and then went straight to color on top of what was there. So covered easy, don't need a whole lot of paint. Here is a picture I took. I guess the 64 was still there. I know it was right around the time that thing was gone, though. So we got the wax and grease remover. We got Intercoat Clear. We got House of Color Dry Pearls, along with other brand name dry pearl. I want to say there's 3 different color pearls. Euro Clear, about 2.5 gallons worth. And then reducers and stuff like that. Bunch of tape, bunch of paper. First time doing this. First time doing graphics on a car. It was basically an experiment that I figured, hey man, if I screw it up, I can always just repaint the thing cream I can even paint it cream with no pearl. It'll still look good. You know, worst, like I always say, worst case is you can sand it off and redo it. So just something I wanted to try. I would not attempt graphics on a high-end car. I don't think my skill set is there. I'm not interested in that type of thing. I'm more interested in perfecting bodywork than I am graphics. So wouldn't try it on a high-end car, but why not on a $3,000 car? Don't really have a whole lot of pictures of this car, but basically here we are, just messing around, taped some graphics, sprayed some pearls. I kind of went for just the roof and around the lower half of the car and a little bit on the sail panel there. Here is the roof. I like the subtle graphics, kind of like ghost patterns. I really don't like loud stuff. I like stuff that at certain angles you can't even see, and then at certain angles it's like boom, it's there. Like for example that, boom, it's there. Other angles you can't even see that. So that's two different types of dry pearls on top of the factory pearl. And here we are, a little something I threw together on the bottom. I suck at spraying graphics or masking graphics or just coming up with ideas. I'm not that creative when it comes to that type of stuff. I leave that to the other guys, the professionals. But just messing around, man, having fun. You know, sprayed it with the doors closed and, you know, called it a day. Street car. Here is the car basically done. I don't even have any pictures of the setup. I went through all my Google photos and I don't have any pictures of the hydraulic setup, which is crazy. But it was super, super basic. Nothing to show off, nothing to open the trunk for. It's 4 batteries, 2 Hoppos pumps, and I got the setup off of eBay from a guy, I believe in Louisiana, that bought it and had no use for it after all. So I got it at a discount price, cheaper than, you know, retail. And it was right up the alley of what I was trying to accomplish. So I believe I was able to pull this off for under 10. If you factor in the car, the wheels, and then what I paid for the paint materials, I probably spent the most money on the clear. But I want to say this was like a $700 paint job with the graphics and everything. And it looked pretty decent after it was wet sand and buffed. You know, like I say, it's not a show car. Although we did take it to Odessa show, and I think I won something. I don't know. I wasn't even really trying to win. I just took it just to take it. It was a good car. It rode pretty good. I know it's very popular on the channel. I think I got a couple more pictures here. Here's another one. You can see the graphics on the bottom. Like I say, they flip-flop. I wanted the spindle swap up front with the spoons. Now on those spoons, they're either a 1-inch or a 2-inch. And I think 1-inch, me personally, I'm not a fan of the whole bowing out thing. 1 inch is a little bit too much on these cars, so I wallowed out the hole. I slotted the 1-inch hole and made them adjustable. And as long as you're not hopping and you tighten it down good, it's not going to move. So I had more like a 3/4 inch extension. Also, one thing to consider, man, is where you live. I know city folk, they can get away with 1.5-inch A-arms, but out here where I live, I'm, a couple miles off the highway. As soon as you get on the highway, you got to go 75 or else you're going to get ran over. So them 1.5-, 2-inch A-arms, they may look cool, but your tires are going to last about 100 miles if you're driving, that type of speed and out here, so can't do that. No go. Plus, I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'm like to keep things simple. So this thing had 6s in the front, probably 8s in the back, maybe 10s. Stock length arms, simple up and down like usual. Clean car, air conditioned, and lifted. It also had accumulators in the rear, so it rode nice. Here is the last picture. You can see, boom, in your face. Graphics on the front bumper that you couldn't see in the other picture. That's exactly the look I was going for. So yeah, pulled this car off for under budget, which is good. It's something I wanted to I guess teach or, demonstrate that not all lowriders cost $100,000 or more. You can still throw something together yourself and and pull it off and make it look good. You know, I did buy new headlights. That's a huge improvement in appearance on these cars, because they're usually faded. Bought a new grill, new headlights, and you know, it was clean, man. Spray paint under the wheel wells black with rattle can, you know, clean it up a little bit, and rode around a little bit with it, and then end up selling it. Sold it to a guy, a friend of mine in the Houston area. He wanted something to buzz around in. See, that's the thing. I've said it before, man. When you're building what I consider a high-end car, which is like $60,000 or more, it's just not practical. You're not going to want to drive it in the rain. You know, I mean, yeah, people's going to sit there and say, oh yeah, real riding and all this, man, but get real. You're not going to drive it on a Tuesday in the rain. You're not going to, you know, it's just not practical. It's not safe to drive it in certain conditions and things like that, man. So you get a lower end car. That's what you do. That's what you use that for. Whereas, hey, if you drive it to the restaurant or whatever and you get a little door ding, it's not the end of the world. Although for me, it is a big deal, but you know, you get what I'm saying. You don't have a whole lot of money tied up into it, man. It kind of satisfies the appetite. So easy come, easy go, man. I sold it to a guy. I believe he redid the trunk or did some more framework to it. I hadn't seen it since, but I'm sure he's enjoying it. I gave it to him at a huge bargain. Basically what I had in the car plus the hydraulics. End up keeping the wheels, and I end up selling the wheels to a guy in Dallas area. He still has them, put them on his car. So kind of donated organs, donated it out, and you know, the car lives on, man. So that's gonna wrap it up for this Way Back Wednesday. We got a special one coming up for the next time. I think the next one's gonna be Billie Jean 64. I got a story to tell about that one. The owner's a real cool dude. We featured the car on the channel, the whole build, paint job, not the entire build, but a big majority of the build. I'm going to get into that next, man. Hope you guys enjoyed this Way Back Wednesday, man. Y'all stay tuned. We did try and do we're going to do a budget video on the 63 that I just got. Well, I got 6 months ago that we just unloaded and put it in the shop. We were going to do a budget video on that off the dome on 4th of July, but unfortunately our microphones with the camera were malfunctioning. So man, me and my wife, we were really excited, or you know, we were really amped up to do that video. I knew what I was going to talk about, and boom, and then the microphones didn't work, and then people started popping fireworks and shooting guns, so kind of killed that pretty quick. But we got some new microphones, man, so we're going to be doing that. I really want to document the 63 every step of the way, man. Got a lot of content coming. So y'all stay tuned for more, man. Thanks for watching.